I want to end with a midrash. And usually I don't talk about these topics, but I want to mention this point because lately there's more and more and more people talking about Gedolei Yisrael, talking about our leaders. In every generation we have something called Gedolei Yisrael. We have the leaders of the Jewish people. Every single generation, although leaders pass away, new leaders always come up and they lead us. You're talking about tzaddikim, human beings that learned since they're young, Torah, Torah, Torah. No vacations, no restaurants, no sports, learning since they're for sure 5 years old to this day where they're already 90 years old. So right now in Eretz Yisrael, we all know the politics that's going on between whether the Yeshiva Bacham should go to the army or not. Now, I'm not getting to the technicalities of it, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to get into it. Because it's out of my business. What does it mean it's out of my business? We have leaders, we have rabbis that run the generation. They make the decision whether the Yeshiva Bacham should apply for the army in Israel or not. And by the way, if you know me personally, I'm probably a Zionist. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not, but I'm probably a Zionist. I'm Israeli. My parents were in wars. My grandparents were in wars. I know Israeli history very well. I know exactly how the politics work. I have like a Yetzer Hara for it. But at the same time, I know my place. And I know that Hashem really exists. And the Torah is real. And we have Chachamim. And we know the Maran Chacham Ovadia Yosef. Who's greater than Maran Chacham Ovadia Yosef? He was so against Yeshiva Bacham as a movement going to the army. You know how many times he cried for it? You know how many times he screamed at politicians for it? You know how many Gedolei Yisrael were so against it? And right now the rabbis are against it. Whatever they decide, they decide. But for a Jew, whether it's in America or in Eretz Yisrael, when you're having a conversation, now a lot of people don't realize it, but when you have a conversation about this topic, a person can be mezalzel, a person can disregard the rabbis. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Why can you go to the army? Why are you just going to sit in yeshiva all day? And people start having complaints and complaints. You could fall under the category of mezalzel talmid chacham. You're disrespecting a gadol Yisrael. And the chachamim tell us one of the greatest sins and dangerous thing a person can do for themselves as being mezalzel, disrespecting a talmid chacham, especially Gedolei Yisrael. And the chachamim tell us a person who disrespects rabbis like that, like Gedolei Yisrael, like Man Chacham Ovadia Yosef, or Chaim Kanievsky, Rabbi Eliashiv, or the Gedolim that we have right now, or Dov Lander, or Hirsch, or Meir Mazuz, or Yitzchak Yosef, a person who thinks he's smarter than them, a person who disregards them and says they don't know what they're talking about, why are they doing this? Who do you think you are talking about Gedolei Yisrael like that? And the Chachamim say, a person who talks like that loses his olam haba. En lo chelek leolam haba. You might as well just jump off a cliff now. A person who disregards Talmidei Chachamim, a person who thinks he's smarter than Gedolei Yisrael, no matter how sensitive the topic is to you, the way you discuss it is, I don't understand it, I feel they should go to the army, but obviously I'm wrong because I'm not smarter than Chacham Yitzchak Yosef, I'm not smarter than Dov Landau, and I know my place. But a person who thinks he's smarter and disrespects, you will lose your olam haba and you nechshav ke'apikores. You're like a God denier, you're denying the Torah. So this is a warning, because some people don't realize. We see from Yaakov Avinu, when you hang around the media too much, when you hang around the goyim too much, you come to think like them. Who are rabbis? Rabbis are just good to have in the shul. They're good to ask you questions for, but to actually follow their opinion, to actually put your head in and be humble next to them, then sometimes a person can say, listen, rabbis have their position and I have my opinion. They have their opinion, I have my opinion. As if rabbis are like politicians or something, as if it's like some menu that you can choose who you want to follow. Rabbis are rabbis. We follow them whether you agree or not. You don't know what you're talking about. If you learn as much Torah as them, if you disconnect from this world for so many years and you're a holy person, you watch your eyes, you watch how you talk, you watch what you eat, and all you do is learn for 50 years straight, come back to me, I'll listen to your opinion. But until then, do not get involved in a conversation when it comes, should we go to the IDF, should we not go to the IDF, because a person can come to be mizalzeh tamidei chachamim, and a person can lose his olam haba. We have rabbis that we follow, whether we understand it or not does not make a difference, it's none of our business, we follow our chachamim. Be careful because you're playing with the olam haba. Thank you so much for listening.